First of all, it's great to finally meet you in person. Like I said when you're coming in, I've heard so many cool things about you, and the goal of this is just to get, well, a little bit selfish. I want to get to know you a little bit better because you seem like a really cool guy, but also give you a platform to share your story, and just kind of where you came from, what's going on, and we'll just kind of shoot from the hip.
Okay. My name's Fausto Castellanos, and I was born in Orange County, California. I grew up in I guess I would say poverty. Grew up in poverty, right? Single mom making $30,000 a month, raising 2 kids in Orange County. You know, that's not a lot, right? Because my father was a narcissist. So when he was in the picture, he really wasn't.
Okay.
And there was always like they would separate, come back together, separate. So I grew up with that push and pull love. I grew up with that emotion unavailable love. And even though my mom showed me love, I wanted my dad's love. So what that did was it caused me to seek male attention outside the household, right? With the older kid in school, the neighbor, just anybody I would gravitate towards because I was looking for love and acceptance. And so what I developed in that was, I would surround myself with people just to get that sense of importance. And so one of the kids in my apartment complex actually sexually abused me as a kid when I was 7. And so when it happened to me, that was my first form of trauma, I would say. And I didn't know what was happening. But all I knew was this kid that was bullying me was being nice to me. That's what I just saw. Like, oh, the older kid's being nice to me. Cool. I feel kind of important right now in this moment. He's giving me a lot of attention. And then the next day he went to bullying me again when the other kids were around. And that's when I thought, like, I did something wrong. And so that's where that belief of guilt and shame was born, which caused me to be like, nobody can know what happened because I did something wrong. And so that's what developed the people pleaser, the manipulator, the class clown, the guy doing stunts, just anything to try to play this character because I thought everybody knew what happened to me. In my mind, I thought everybody at school knew. Like the way they looked at me, the way they talked to me, I just thought that. So I'd play these characters because I noticed when I did that, I would get a response of like, that was funny. Oh, you're cool. Attaboy. And so I was seeking that acceptance again. And so I played those characters throughout elementary school. And when I got to middle school, it was if you get a girlfriend, right, then you're a man. And so I go, okay, cool. So now that we're dating, if I get a girlfriend, that means that guy never molested me, right, the boy. So when I would get a girlfriend, it was like erase the memory. I'm a man. Everything's fixed. But when the girl would break up with me, I would internalize it as she knows what happened to me as a kid. Because remember, I think everybody knows. So I would self-destruct, think like, okay, let me get piercings, dress like a punk rocker. That will fix me. Get into 8th grade, date a girl, I'm fixed. Same thing happens, she breaks up with me for my friend. I internalize it as she knows what happened to me. He's a real man, I'm not. Self-destruct. Then all of a sudden, I get tattoos, become a skateboarder, and I'm like, this is a character I'll play. So, meet a girl again in 9th grade. I'm fixed. She breaks up with me too for my friend. And I remember my friend lied to her that I cheated on her. And then she believed him over me. So then again, my mind's like, it's because what happened to me, she knows. I'm obviously not manly enough. And she's choosing to believe someone over me. Betrayal kicks in. So then I self-destruct. And at this point, I'm like, I don't want to go to school anymore. Like, I tried these different formulas. It's not working. So I found a way to get out of school, which was I pretended to be crazy. I said I was hearing voices that kill people, which is wild because if I said that now,
different day and age, man, huh?
So back then, what it did was they 5150 me, of course. I didn't know that. I was like, I was kidding. I'm not crazy. They sent me the psych ward. I get out of the psych ward, and I get my wish. You don't have to go to school, independent studies. So now that I'm at home, it was like my safe space. I'm safe at home. I don't got to go out, face this reality that everyone knows. I'm safe. Well, this is where my friends were like, hey, do you drink? This is where it started, right? And, I want to fit in. So I'm like, yeah, I drink. So I remember that first time drinking Jack Daniels, it was like I felt alive. I felt secure. I felt confident. I felt accepted, a part of. My past didn't matter anymore, what happened to me. I felt like the first time I wanted to live. Because ever since I was 7, I remember having suicidal ideation. Just want to die. Full of anxiety, insecurity. I'm not good enough. I'm unworthy. Alcohol cured it. So as a kid, right, doing my own type of therapy to myself, right, I was like, oh, if I drink this, that's a solution. Like, it's not a bad thing. I found it. And so that's what it was. How do I get my drink? How do I get a drink? Right? Very innocently. Ask homeless people, older friends, steal it. And that sparks the curiosity of, sooner or later someone's like, hey, have you ever done ecstasy? No, but I want to. Love it. Cocaine. It was whatever in the beginning. Crack. A little bit weird, And then I get into meth. And of course, because remember, I'm just trying to seek that feeling of comfort. And when I start getting into meth, I run into a scenario where I get molested for 6 months when I'm 14 by an older man. So he's in his 50s, I'm 14. But my brain went, it happened to me as a kid, now it's happening again. Like, what am I doing to cause this? Because I thought it was my fault.
Right.
Which is logically makes no sense, but in the moment, it felt like it. And so I couldn't say anything because I was afraid to tell someone that they'd be like, Fausto, that's on you. So again, I start to spiral and spiral and spiral. And luckily, I got out of that situation. And then from 15 to 18, I was just a party guy. I got to forget what happened to me. I'm just going to drink, do ecstasy, and go to parties, right? Again, play the character. Oh, Fausto could get his beer. He has the ecstasy, validation, acceptance, but always looking for a woman because I felt like I needed to get that part too to prove that what happened to me didn't happen. Because it made me question my sexuality. It made me feel like I was tainted and not good enough. And so when I would find someone who liked me, I would attach to it. And so I dated this girl for 3 years, which was very toxic because I was codependent. But I'm not going to leave you no matter what. I don't care if you cheat on me, whatever. If I hold on to you, then I can prove to myself it didn't happen to me in my past. So I'd hold on to it until they finally let go. I would self-destruct, try committing suicide in different ways, get deeper into my addiction. And then I would sooner or later get like a wake-up call, right? Kind of calm down, get more tattoos, get more piercings, start taking steroids. Like, okay, if I do this, I'll be fixed. Meet a girl, and I'm like, okay, cool, here it is, right? I'm a bartender, I'm a DJ, I'm tatted up, GQ model look, thinking I'm fixed. And sure enough, she breaks up with me, and it's like I self-destruct again. And it's like, man, nothing is working. And the older I got, the harder it was to deal with it. My suicidal ideations got worse, my depression. And, the older I get, the more responsibilities I have. So it's like, man, like, you got to go to work. You got bills to pay. Like, it's not like you're a kid. And my mom had stage 4 cancer at this time. So I was taking care of her. So it was like the back of my head. They don't know that I'm doing all this. She's over here, I'm throwing up chemotherapy in the other room. And she doesn't realize, like, I'm losing all our rent money and everything. And I just crashed the car. Like, oh my gosh. And I come from poverty. So there's not like, let me ask a family member to help or a friend. No special connections in my family, no money. So I hit my rock bottom. I'm pissed off at this concept of God. And I'm like, if God is real, why would he do this to my life, right? So much trauma, mental health, addiction, my mom. And for whatever reason, I was always into magic as a kid because, I want, girls' attention. Yeah. If I do a magic trick, I'm cool. And so there was this guy I met at a restaurant I was a server at. And he did a year in prison for making cars disappear doing magic. He was that good. So for me, I was fascinated by this guy. And he was the only person I knew that was locked up, came out, and like had a beautiful life after, right? So I hit him up. And I said, hey, dude, I need help. And I told him everything I just told you for the first time to somebody. That was the first time I voiced it out. And he read some scripture to me. And it was that God gives his strongest battles to his strongest warriors. So I had this perception shift in that moment of, wait, I went through all that pain because I'm strong to help out other people? And it was crazy because remember, I've never read a book at this point. I've never watched a podcast. I never read any of that. So that's why all this language was new to me. I was like, oh, I never thought about it. Like, that's interesting. And I felt an emotional high, like I was drunk and high, but just on this concept of God. And so I went, whatever this feeling is, like I feel so alive and happy right now. Like I want more of this. So I saw AA in a TV show once. And so my head went, oh, I think I go to AA, right? So I looked it up, went to Fullerton Alano Club the next day. It was a podium meeting. So they go, newcomers. I'm like, oh, is that me? Go up, share my story for the first time in front of a group of people. And as I walked down, this man came up to me. He looked at me and said, me too. And he hugged me. And so I knew that there was purpose to my pain, that everything I went through was to help other people walk through it, to be a voice of hope. And so I was so high on life, and I'm an obsessive person, and I'm a center of attention guy. So I went, I'm posting all this on Instagram and Facebook today, and I'm going to change the world. And I documented my journey every single day. 3 posts a day, stories, I mean, everything, to the point where some people are like, you're lying, you're just seeking attention. But I had people from different countries see it and be like, hey, I've been through that. I've never talked about it. Thank you for giving me permission to feel. And so I went, whoa, I feel like a superhero. And so I made t-shirts that said, tap me on the shoulder if you want to get sober. I made t-shirts that said, I've been addicted, suicidal, and sexually abused. You're not alone. I started going on podcasts. I started going on magazines. I started speaking everywhere I can go. Churches, schools, meetings, events. I would throw small events, fitness events. I mean, anything I could just to share the story, to the point where maybe it was a little bit too much sometimes. I'd be like at Ralph's at the grocery store. How's your day going? I'm just a guy who's been molested, sexually abused, addicted, suicidal, but I'm alive.
Yeah.
Like, to that point. But I was so hyped on this, being a hope dealer. And so then I was like, okay, so I'm this person, I'm speaking out loud. This is before Recover Out Loud was a thing. And I just saw blessings come into my life because people were shocked how vulnerable I was. And I'm a giver. I love to give. I don't care about money. Like, I give so much. I'll go spend the night at a homeless shelter. To me, that's fun. I want to hang out with everybody. So that giving, I think, spirit was attracting people to want to work with me because they trusted me. And so I said, okay, how do I turn this into a living? So I went to school, became a clinical counselor, got my master's in theology too, to have psychology and theology backgrounds, became a pastor, became one of the top jump ropers in the world for athletes. I started a business doing therapy, business consulting doing therapy. I became a motivational speaker. I became a therapist to celebrities in the creative world. God just started throwing like actors, producers, YouTubers, hip hop art. I mean, it's crazy. And life has just blessed me with abilities to travel the world, be on the top YouTube channels like Soft White Underbelly, act in music videos now. And just everything I do is about letting people know that you're not alone. You are loved, you matter, you are needed, and your story is your superpower. Because all I do is share my story, and I just get blessed and blessed. And I believe give first, and God will bless you later. And so, I mean, there's so much more to my life, but that's kind of like a nutshell of who I am and what I do.
It's like mic drop. Out. Done. Man, yeah, so thank you for sharing all of that. There's so much that we can jump in and unpack. One of the things that came up as you were sharing that is you're able to speak so openly and real and raw. Yeah. Which, first of all, for guys is really tough.
Yeah.
Then when you add addiction, molestation, different things. So I know it wasn't an easy jump.
No.
Do you mind if we kind of dive into that? Because that's where we see a lot of people struggle early in recovery. I mean, you can Google statistics, but it's like 87%, somewhere around there. There's been some form of sexual trauma.
And there's more, because that's just what people say.
Right.
Imagine all the ones that people don't say.
Yeah. And so it's how do I numb the pain? And there's this internal guilt and shame. And you hit on like the biggest lies that we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's the intent is protection at an unconscious level.
Right.
What were you able to do to start making that change, that transition of kind of attacking the war within to be able to speak so openly?
Yeah, so I had to, right, this is like a heavy thing, right? Because I believe from a human standpoint, there's unforgivable things, right? We can look at it like that. And so for me, what it was when I got to this place, one, perception change with an emotional connection that there's purpose to my pain got me motivated. But that took me, 10 plus years to finally get to, 15 years to get to. So it took a while, right? It took a rock bottom of I'm going to die, and then this emotional experience, there's purpose to my pain, right? That was the motivation, but I still had to take action. So going to an AA meeting, when they asked me to share, I had to take that chance to share it in front of those people, which I'm glad I did, right? And thank God the response was something good, like me too, thank you. Because that gave me more motivation to share another day my story. And the other part that was good about it was seeing how it helped people out, helped me want to speak more about it. But then it's the forgiveness aspect. So how do you forgive that? Because if you don't forgive it, you're never going to be happy and you will go back out. Well, it's unforgivable. Well, there's this concept of what you don't forgive, you become. And this is heavy. Dad beats mom, son beats wife. Very easy. People say that all the time. Well, it makes sense. What about person gets molested, then that person molests somebody else? Hurt people, right? So I had to understand why somebody would do that to me. That was the first step. Why would he do it? Because you're always going to ask, why would someone do it to a kid?
Yeah.
Hurt people. Okay. 2 was, what was your part in it? That's heavy. I was like, I'm a kid. Was it my fault I was there? He's like, no, your part was holding on to that pain. How is holding on to that helping you? And I sat with it and I was like, I don't know. How's it hurting you?
So right there, that to me is that aha moment of learning how to sit in the pain, knowing on the other side is the peace and the purpose. That's where the sedation cuts that cycle off. So can we go like a little deeper into that wormhole? Yeah. How were you able to give yourself permission to sit in the pit of pain?
By somebody creating that safe space for me to sit with it. It took somebody else who's already walked through it to create that safe space for me to sit with it. That's what it was.
And that's so powerful.
Yeah. When you see somebody come up to you, say it so freely, and like sit there with you like they really care, and they can just understand the pain without you even having to share about it. That gave me permission to feel safe to sit with it. That's what it took. So it took somebody else to make me feel safe, which is not easy. But that allowed me to look at it, to sit with it, to process it. And so once I was able to see that holding on to that pain made me not trust men. I couldn't have sex sober at all because it was traumatizing. It made me not be able to receive love or give love, and it made me react like a toxic person anytime I'm with somebody close to me. I didn't like that about me. And so to be able to say, like, if you forgive it and let it go, then that will change. You'll experience love, you can give love, you'll trust, man. That gave me a reason to like, okay, I'm okay with that. Then I'm down to try this forgiveness thing. And then it's like, you don't have to go to the guy and say, I forgive you. Do it in a letter, a meditation, a prayer. That helped me calm down a bit. And then once I started to see that I was receiving love and trusting men again, and I felt happy, it made the process a lot easier to let go of the pain. And that's what I had to do. And that's the only way to walk through it.
Yeah, it's so incredible to see. A lot of people get stuck on the forgiveness, thinking if I forgive, that means what they did was okay.
It justifies it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so looking at it from the standpoint of, I'm not forgiving you for you. I'm forgiving you for me.
Exactly.
And when I'm able to not just logically, but internalize that at a spiritual level, because when there's sexual trauma, it's not just a mental, just a physical. There is a spiritual modality that is just ripped and torn.
Right.
And so you found somebody that you were able to trust that just sat there, didn't try to fix you,
right,
but just sat with you and provided that.
Mm-hmm.
And so from there, you started sharing, sounds like a lot more open. Mm-hmm. And that is where you found people were connecting with you through your pain.
Right.
And then you started finding purpose. So can we make that jump from the pain to the purpose?
Yeah. So we have pain in our life, right? We all go through things. Now, purpose is found through the service of others. So when I share my pain with you and it helps you, now there's purpose to what I went through. Mm. So purpose can only happen within our pain if you share your story and you see that it helps somebody. And so every time I would share my pain in an AA meeting, which I was blessed to have a meeting to share that, right? It allowed me to apply purpose to my pain. Every single meeting I went to just strengthened that purpose. You know, every time somebody commented or sent me a DM or a message about it, strengthened my purpose to the point where I got so strong in it that I'm like, man, I believe it to the core. There's purpose to it. And then I was blessed to get to big stages and see it. So that's the key to it. You got to share it to find purpose within it. And that's the problem, is people don't want to talk about it. So it's going to be very hard to truly heal from it, because then technically it happened for nothing.
Yeah. And you share, I mean, just from hearing your story, it sounds like you are so effective at taking action. I know a lot of people will struggle with that, of they have the desire, the want. What are some tips you can give of actually turning that into action, even though it's scary?
Yeah. I mean, one is, you know, at the end of the day, you got to take a risk. You know, it's like if you've never done it, it can seem impossible. It's a lot scarier in your mind than it is in reality. But you got to find a safe space to do it at. People in recovery are lucky because we have AA groups. What happens if you're not in addiction? Where are you going to go? Oh, I'm going to pay you $30 for a yoga class and then tell the person next to me as we're doing downward dog, hey, I was molested. You know, it's like, it's not going to happen. So I think it's very important for people to find these safe spaces, and I think if you look for it, you'll find it. Like nonprofits that support that cause, maybe that's a good place to start. Reach out to people who are speaking openly about it, right? Send them a message. They might respond to you. That might be the one person you can share stuff with. Pray for God to show you who to talk to and where to go to, right? Start paying attention, because you got to make an observation to lead to a conversation, to have a revelation that's going to help you be able to find that safe space to start sharing. So I say that's the key to it, is you really got to find that place to do it, because you can share it in the wrong place and then it backfires.
Yeah, well, that brings up the other aspect of relevancy, right? I fact, anytime you learn something new, I always think of Will Ferrell, like, I just want to shout it from the mountaintops.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, in the line with the checkered, I've been molested. And now, I'm like, I feel better. But the poor like 21-year-old behind bagging groceries is like, I don't know what to do. and so with this relevancy part, because it's hard to decipher that. So how is that tied in with you as you continue to create a bigger platform of this relevancy part of making sure that you're sharing with the people at the right place at the right time?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, and I don't recommend this to anybody, I don't care anymore. I got to the point where it's like, I'm radically probably vulnerable and I don't care. I'll make you uncomfortable because I feel like you just never know. But I'm okay with that now, right? Because I tell everyone everything about me, so I'm not afraid someone's going to use it against me. I find it kind of funny sometimes. But I would say that I do practice knowing where I'm at and what is needed that day. I don't do that at the grocery store no more. Like that, you don't need to. I go in. If anything, I go to Sam's Club and deliver my food now to my house. But I pick and choose where it's needed. I pay attention. I listen, right? Where am I at? Does it need to be said? That's how I practice knowing where to say it at. Like when I hang out with my girlfriend's friends, they're normie engineers. So
you got straight logical.
Yeah, data, evidence, analysis, and I'm just the one guy like, you guys ever smoked meth before? You guys ever doing weird? So I'm very aware now of where to say it at, where it'll be received. So just picking and choosing, know your audience.
Yeah, well, you mentioned something too, is I remember I heard this quote a long time ago, and I'm very similar. Once I just started sharing like in public forums, they say the most powerful person in the room is the one that has nothing to hide.
Yeah.
So there's this key to self-exposure where it's terrifying when you don't live this way, because like you said, people can use people, places, and things against you. Yeah. But when you just become radically honest, it is so freeing. So one of the things, like I know for me, I had to work through the guilt and the shame before getting through there. So what are some of the things that you did with the guilt and shame to get from that cycle you explained of kind of staying individual and then latching on to females? And that's a whole other addiction that we can go down a rabbit hole. That a lot of people are like, oh no, you're fine.
I was insane with codependency too.
Yeah. But so what were some of the actual tangible things that you did for working through the guilt and the shame to be able to just be completely free?
Yeah. For me, it was finding role models who were vulnerable. And it wasn't like I was looking for it. It was, I became obsessed with reading books and watching podcasts, like to the point where I read Jim Quick's book, How to Speed Read. I would do 5 books a day. That's just me. And I would see these people that I admire and read their book, and you would say like, oh, I was sexually abused. I'm like, he just said that? What? How many people read this book? Whoa, that's inspiring. And look, he has a great life and he's crushing it. Like, that's cool. So I would see people that are, doing amazing things that I respect, that inspire me, and I would see their vulnerability and little pieces of it. That helped me get motivated to like, yeah, that's who I want to be then too. Like, I appreciate this person. They got a big following. People love that. Nothing bad's happening to them. Because the other side of it, people are like, well, you can't be vulnerable in certain types of businesses or this and that, which is probably true. I can see maybe corporate world, maybe I get it. But I've also seen the other side of like, they do work in corporate world, and they're like, I don't care if they know. If they're going to fire me, I don't care. And that was powerful. And then I still see their life is beautiful. So seeing people like that inspired me to take that action. And then when I would see that my life was amazing and blessings were still coming, whether it's financially, spiritually, romantically, whatever, being that version is strength into like, yeah, I'm gonna keep on being this radically vulnerable. I got no guilt and shame. I got nothing to hide. You know what I mean? All the things you're warning me about, my life is great. And so that kind of kept me focused on doing it, was finding people specifically that inspire me and reading books to see their vulnerability, which inspired me to be vulnerable.
That's awesome. So finding people that are currently living at the place where you desire to go, and then studying them and learning from them different things.
That's why I'll have like people come up to me right when I speak on stage, because I could even go deeper with stuff. I go on stage, I do it, and you know they're like, "Wow, dude! Like, how do you do that?" And I'm like, and then before you know it, they'll come up to me a couple weeks later, Fausto, man, I shared that thing that I never shared from a group of people, man. I'm like, dude, awesome, dude. Keep on doing it. And they're like, dude, I feel so good. It's like, that's right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it releases us from that internal incarceration of just being able to free. So you say you enjoy reading. What are some of the top books? If someone's like, man, I want to get into a book. I like what he's saying. What are maybe the top 2 or 3 that really stick out to you?
Yeah, Mindset by Carol Dweck, which she's a psychologist. She talks about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. That's it's easy to read, which I like, right? If you can't explain it simply, then you don't know it really. So that was good for me to change my my belief system, right? Understanding that we can continually grow. It doesn't stop at an age. So I recommend that book. Another book I would recommend is The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. Amazing speaker, the way he explains things, right? That will help you understand how to create that character, right? To be a good leader, a good speaker, just a good individual. And the third book would be... I have so many books. What can I think right now?
Well, the 2 that you listed are fantastic. And you mentioned something about belief and how you begin to change beliefs.
I got the other one, The Gift of Giving. I always tell people, learn the power of giving. We live in a world of taking. If you really want to stand out, learn the art of giving. But it teaches you in practical ways too, so you don't overgive. And it allows you to understand, it talks about forgiveness in there and all these things. And that has really given me so much success in my life. Because I notice that when I give, I end up in the coolest places ever. And I'm not rich and I don't have social connections, but I'm in a place that you need to be rich to be in, you know? So it's kind of like, wow, this is cool. I'm like, oh, it's because I'm giving. And people watch you, and reputation speaks volumes. And it also, it's blessed me in so many ways. And so when people ask me, like, what's the secret to your success? I say, give more. Yeah.
So you use the term rich, and I know a lot of people think financially. So if we can interchange the term to wealth, what is wealth to you at this point in your life?
Being my true, authentic self, doing what I love, and living with self-worth within myself and peace of mind. That's true wealth for me right there, is that place right there. Because when I'm living that, then I'm truly living my life, you know, and everything just works out that way.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and I love it when people share, because for some reason we go to the financial part, and especially you mentioned social media and different things, like so many people look at that financial part, and most of the people I know that chase the finances get there and go, I don't feel any wealthier than I did before. Maybe the pursuit of wealth isn't just financial, and then everything you shared is the part where for some reason when you focus on that, for the people I know, it's like then the finances start to follow, because you're there to give from a place of just wanting to experience life at a spiritual level versus this financial or moralistic approach, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a study that after $80,000, the happiness chemical in your brain stops. So anything more than that, if it's just money, you will not be happier the more money you make. And then Pitbull says that the secret to happiness is to give all your money away. You know what I mean? It's not making more money, it's giving more money away. And you know, like I said, when I work with these high profile people, A-list celebrities, they got it all and they're miserable. And they even tell you, like, man, the money doesn't matter. Like, I'm miserable. This is what comes with it, you know? And so, yeah, it's really not about how much money you make. The high is going to end if you chase the money sooner or later, because of the responsibilities. And also, if you don't have the character to handle that money, that's scary.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not spiritually fit, because then you start to go into this other side of it, which
Anything you chase, you end up losing. You got to continue to chase. That was beautiful. So you mentioned God several times.
Yeah.
How important of a role has God and spirituality played to this healing process?
I mean, it's everything. God was what saved me from my addiction. That was my first true experience with God. I grew up Catholic, but I only went to the Catholic school for like Sunday school to see like my friends, and then as soon as I was in middle school, I was like, cool, I don't gotta go.
Yeah.
You know, high school I would go to get free food, smoke weed, eat some food. But God was pivotal for me. I'm alive today because of God, and in the 7-year journey with God, I mean, it's everything to me. And I have my moments where I doubt still. I have my moments where I don't pray as much or I feel disconnected. But every time, as long as I keep on trying, I always come back to the basics. It's like, you need to lean on God more. You know, stop reading these books, stop finding mentors, stop trying to make more business things or create something. It's God is your solution. And so it was pivotal because in 2023 in December, I tried committing suicide after this big party that Preston was at. 1,500 people, gave away $40,000 worth of gifts, speakers, DJs, artists, amazing. And I tried shooting myself in the head 2 weeks later, and I had a mental breakdown, and I ended up moving to Asia for 6 months. I go backpacking through 14 countries to get my mind right, and then talk to God because I was mad at God again. And God just showed up again and said, "Hey man, my blessings became your God, not me. Let's get back to me again."
Do you mind sharing some of the pain that came up that led to that?
Yeah, I have conditional self-worth. I'm only as good as my last performance, and I became a performer for God. Not intentionally, but it's just I got so happy to be this hope dealer, helper, but I got lost again. I became so obsessed with saving the world that became my identity. And then from, not everybody's going to get saved. I got screwed over a lot by people in the industry, people setting me up, lies and rumors, and just being hurt from that because I really loved these people and helped them to find that happen. And I always just felt like I would always come second. Like my brain would always find someone like, why are they there and I'm right here? Like I'm so much nicer and kinder. Like why? And so that comparison would spiral, and it was just I never felt worthy. I felt like I couldn't figure it out. And so year after year of my sobriety, it got harder and harder to the point where I'm like, I just want to end my life. I was like, I don't know what the point of this is. Like I was wrong. I'm just a statistic. And so that's what led to that place. And so that's why when I went backpacking in Asia for 6 months with my girlfriend, the goal was to like quit my career, quit everything, right? Take that risk, quit everything I've ever done, go to a country where no one speaks English, no one knows who I am, and then just pray and go, God, what is going on? What is happening? And so the intention was to figure that out, and which I did. And that's how I got closer to God, found self-worth through God because I couldn't get it anywhere else. And it just blew my mind, and I was like, wow. I was still living for the validation of others, even though it was good things. But now I'm living for you, God, truly, because I'm happy. I found what I needed in Asia with nobody. That's what I was looking for this whole time, the 7 years of recovery. Now that I have it, I'm going to protect it, which now I say no to things. I have strong boundaries. I don't care what people think about me. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't really care. I don't try to be the savior of everybody anymore. I won't answer your call. I don't care. I don't have the capacity to do that. I'm okay with that.
And that's something that I think we all go through in our journey, this whole savior thing of like once you find something that is so, in a healthy way, intoxicating.
Yeah.
But what must happen to a savior? They get crucified. So one of the questions that came up while you're sharing that is, how are you able to find that self-worth to truly love yourself? Not based off of conditioning of what you do or how you show up, but truly with this understanding of I don't have to do anything in my life and I'm still worthy of my own love. Because that is hard.
Yeah.
So what's your secret?
Yeah. So mine's radical, right? So I mean, I recommend it, but it was I had to radically give up my whole life, anything that gave me a sense of identity, go to a country in Asia where nobody knows me, nobody speaks English, and I'm there for 6 months. and I deleted my social media. I had no contact with anybody. So I had to radically die to self. And then it was just, I had no blueprint, right? Every day was just like, I don't know what to do today. I woke up and I'd be like, all right, God, please help me today, day one. Read a devotional maybe. Okay, read that. Okay, that was cool. All right, let's go get something to eat. There was no blueprint, but because it was for 6 months, you know what I mean? Like something had to happen because I was praying. I would read. I would journal. And I would just kind of exist in these different countries. And probably like, I would read, I'll find a book and I would read it. I'm like, wow, this is a good book. This is really connecting with me right now. Insecurities. Oh my God, I would feel something happening. Okay, God, I think I'm supposed to read this. And then it was like, okay, God, well, I think I'm ugly. Remove that. And it was funny how it happened because I went to read a book by myself. No, I went to go learn Indonesian by myself at this restaurant, right by myself. My girlfriend stayed back at the house. I'm just reading. And this girl sits next to me right here, and I'm like, Fausto, you're stupid. She's just sitting there. She's not sitting there because of you. And then another girl comes up to me, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just learning Indonesian. You want to sit down? She's like, yeah, we're all talking. She's like, you want to talk? All the girls are talking? Yeah. I didn't realize the girls were trying to sleep with me. Hot girls. My girlfriend comes and I'm like, hey, these are my new friends. And they get up and, oh, we got to go. I'm like, what's happening? She goes, they're flirting with you. I'm like, really? But in my head I went, God's like, see, you idiot, you're not ugly. Get over it. Healed that wound. The book healed my insecurities. The book revealed my insecurities were God's blessings, not me. Because this book was talking about a girl who's a speaker and all that. So things just started happening naturally, right? And not in my time. And then after like 3 months, I just felt happy. I felt peace like I never have before. And I was just like, whoa, dude, like I feel good. I feel really good. This is cool. And I'm not doing anything. I'm just eating and going to the gym and looking at stuff and hanging out, watching a movie every now and then. So it was just happened naturally like that. Because I could not get it anywhere. I couldn't speak. I couldn't give therapy. I couldn't go to a meeting. I couldn't. So then it just happened by me committing to staying out there and allowing life to unfold itself to heal things about me. And then once I had it, I was like, okay, so I have it. So what am I doing? And I talked to my girlfriend about the idea. She's like, you're doing what you want to do. This is what you like. You like to wake up early. You like to take 50 supplements like a crazy person. You like to go to the gym for hours and work out and drink your smoothie after. You like to meal prep and count your calories. You know what I mean? You like to watch psychological shows like Severance and all that stuff. Like, you're being you. You're having fun. And I was like, oh. So she's like, take this with you when you come back home. Because when I got back home, guess what? I'm ready to let go, but they're not ready to let go. And everybody has a good opportunity, right? And I'm built for their team. So I had to really put into practice of like, okay, now it's time to say no. It's time to stick to my boundaries. And if it gets in the way of what I love to do, then don't do it. Because if you do, guess what, Fausto? You're going to spiral. So that's what helped me get to that place of self-worth. So I know what I need now, and I protect it at all costs.
Yeah, protection of when you have the clarity of the calling is so important. So one of the things you said is you're talking about self-belief. I'll just give it a minute. You were talking about dying to self. That's what it was. And it's interesting because we see this quite often where a person will misdiagnose themselves and think I need to die physically, which is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. But really what we are wanting is dying off that, like killing off that old version of us to make way for the new version. Because if we're holding to something back here and the next thing is trying to pull us forward, like it is impossible. From a physical standpoint, physics says it is impossible for me to be two places at the same time, arrive in the same matter. So the importance of letting go of this to say, even though I don't understand, this is where the faith comes in, right? I trust there's something different. And because you have the guts to wrestle with God, I mean, you want to go biblical. So the most powerful men in the Bible wrestled with God and got their ass kicked, but then they were able to expand. So we're coming up on like 45 minutes here. I want to be respectful of your time. I'm so grateful that you've come down.
Rush, just know that.
Oh, are you cool too then? Oh, dude, well then let me.
In that case, let me get some water for this question.
Let me put my comfy pants on and come on, get my. Take your shoes off.
It's about to get Joe Rogan style, right?
Oh man, so squirrel. We'll go off on a tangent. I just listened to my very first Joe Rogan podcast about 3 days ago.
Are you serious?
Everybody So this is how stubborn I am. When everybody says, "Oh, everyone's doing this," I'm like, then I don't want to do that. Even if it's the best thing, I'll go do this.
Yeah.
So I remember everyone was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go do Taekwondo. So I did that for a long time. I'm like, this sucks. So then I went over to Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm like, this is so much more fun. I wasted like 5 or 6 years, but I wouldn't say waste. But actually, it jumps into what we're talking about. I don't remember the guy's name, but he's a theologian, and he actually researches from a scientific standpoint. It was just
Jordan Peterson?
No. It's I forget the guy's name, but he's talking about he got into some, I guess, like a debate altercation with some of the guy, and now he's gotten known, but he's able to prove from a scientific standpoint of how true God is and all the prophecies that were stated, and even different religions look at Jesus as, I guess, it was just so mind-blowing, and just watching them veg into it. So that was my Joe Rogan experience. But so coming back to everything, what does your purpose look like now? Like what is the next 1, 3, 5 years for you, where you are in your zone, you're saying no to the things that you don't want to do? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so my main focus right now is I want to be the source of therapy for the world. And how do I do that without burning myself out? YouTube. I've been editing videos and making videos since 98. Before YouTube, it was Windows Movie Maker. And I did it to make Dragon Ball Z music videos like Slipknot, Mudvayne, Papa Roach, put some fighting scenes, and I loved it. And this is before YouTube, so it wasn't like I was doing it for anybody. I just loved doing it. And so when Jackass came out the show, right, I had a little camera. I was like, oh, let's do stunts, And so we did all that stunts. And then I was a skateboarder, so I was like, oh, we'll make skate videos. And then YouTube came out in 2007, and I'd make funny videos and dance videos and skate videos. But back then it was like, you make funny videos? Like, that's stupid. Oh yeah, I don't do that. I play sports. So I kind of stepped away from it, but it was always kind of there. I'd always make music videos with my friends because everyone wanted to be a rapper in my friend circle. So do that stuff, or us partying, and so I always had that skill. I know how to film. I know how to edit at a professional level. And so my new journey now is, you know what, Fausto? Like, you loved making videos, but for yourself, not for other people, for yourself. Make a YouTube channel, share what you know, because I talked to my buddy that inspired me. He goes, Fausto, first of all, you've been through hell, and you walked through it the healthy way. Then you went to school and got a degree in it. And then also, so my mentor that, when Presence met him, he has 1,000 people at his house a week for free. I got to be around thousands of people helping them. So I got to practice a lot, like what works, what doesn't work, ethnicity, age groups. And I truly care. And I even do it as a hobby. I just meet people for like coffee and help them. So I got to practice a lot too. And so my buddy's like, you're like an anomaly. Like, you have wisdom that people don't have. Believe in yourself. And so I said, okay. So I built a YouTube studio in my room because I have ADHD. So it has to be in my room. Everything has to be ready to go. I can't set it up. I use my skills of editing and filming, bought all my stuff, and now I'm just putting out a video a week. And so my goal is to commit to that for myself, because I want to be the source. I want to be the place that's trusted, where this guy knows what he's talking about and I'm real in it. And that's what I want to do right now. How do I help the most amount of people, but drains me the least amount? And that's the goal for my main focus, is that. And then whatever happens after that is just extra. That's
beautiful. And you hit on a couple core components that is just so beautiful. One of the things you hit on, and I feel like it's kind of dying off, unfortunately, but it is becoming an expert and going deep in a niche. So many people we're seeing are trying to be the jack of all trades, and we're missing that expertise. So what was it that attracted you of going, I'm going all in and going deep on this, and how you're able to get the results? But what led you to that?
To go all in on it?
Well, go all in, but in one specific area.
Yeah. So I sat with it, right? Because I was like, when I was backpacking, I had a lot of time to think, and I was like, I hate social media. I was so happy to be out for 6 months, and so I would think like, damn, Fausto, why were you hate it? Because that's the only way you can go viral, make money, and be relevant. That's a little whisper. Then I go, yeah, but I hate it. Why would I want to hate something to get that? I'm like, there has to be another way. And so one of my buddies that's a famous YouTuber, I started picking his brain, like, hey, how did you do it? What did it look like? Which one would you focus on more? And he's like, well, YouTube's the way to go. He's like, yeah, you can use social media to kind of maybe push things that way. He's like, but if you just want to do YouTube, just focus on that. And, I'm like, that works. He's like, yeah, you can do YouTube Shorts. That's the same thing. And you could do long form. I love long form. I hate 1 minute, 30-second reels. So I was like, okay. I'm like, I like long form. Cool. Focus on one thing. I can do that. And you have to do one video a week. I can do that. And so I said, okay, that's what I'm going to focus on, and then just watching people's videos of like how they started their YouTube channel. That's all they use, and they're making a ton of money. So I said, that's what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to trust the process. So that's how I chose YouTube to go all in. Was I love long form, and it's something I enjoy to do, and that's why I wanted to dive deep into that versus all the platforms. I have all the platforms, but I don't really care for all those platforms.
Yeah, and you bring it up with social media, and what's interesting is everything's a double-edged sword, right? There's a part, and I would get sucked in so much as well, this negative part of the social media. And then actually, my wife just brought this to my attention again, the fires that are going on. And she's like, are you hearing these people are going in and like raiding houses, and like it's so disgusting, and how? And then on the other side, she turns to something else. Oh my gosh, there's firefighters going in, and you see them coming out with the photo albums of people that left them behind, and it's like there's always the beauty in humanity and the ugliness going on simultaneously.
Yeah.
And what you focus on, you're gonna end up feeling. So where are we putting? And so that's the same thing with social medias. It's kind of like, how do I use this for good?
Yeah.
How do I make sure that I'm not showing of what people are missing and how they're not able to compare to other things, but how can I help inform and educate and to help people heal the different things? So it sounds like you're just crushing that in the YouTube space and really going. How are you able to get that depth on that, I guess, mass platform?
Depth as in?
Well, a lot of times, I mean, when you're speaking from a stage, it's very difficult. Like right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully you feel this way, but like I feel connected to you. Mm-hmm. Like we're chatting, I feel like spirits are sharing. It's like this is deep, as opposed to when you're on a stage. It's a little bit less, but I can see what you share comes off as that deeper level. But how, like, what do you do to continue to get that so people can feel what you're doing as opposed to just watching as a spectator? Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I did was, that's why I said I know I need long form. Like it has to be long to get that right, because 30 seconds is, I got the 3 secrets to remove your anxiety. 1, boom, 2, boom. It's all lies.
It's like, I'm anxious, I can't write this fast enough.
Yeah. And it's all lies. Like, I did the 3, I'm solving anxiety. It's like, sorry, but if you bought my coaching thing. So long form I knew I needed. And then I was like, okay, how do I get this experience on it? I talk slow. It's not too much special effects. It's just like talking. And I guide it specifically, like, what is vulnerability? Why is it difficult to practice vulnerability? What are the benefits of vulnerability? And how to start the process of vulnerability, right? So I created this process to talk on topics. And there's not really editing, it's just me talking. And I share my vulnerability. I think that makes it good. Like, I'm very real with it. You almost get a version of me that you'd only get like this. Right. I talk to people like, hey guys, so today's vulnerability we're going to talk about, and it's a powerful thing, but I understand it can be difficult. Like, I was molested as a kid for 6 months in a basement, and I went back over and over and over again. I get deep, so it's like very like, whoa, this guy knows what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. When we talk about codependency, I'm like, hey guys, like, I've been cheated on 30 times. I was with this one girl that brought a date over to my house, and then we started dating after, which was toxic, but I didn't think I could do better than that. Another girl that I dated would bring dates on our dates, but I was so like codependent that I still dated her, and then she would cheat on me, I would go back. So I get very raw, and I think that helps people connect to, like, this guy's not trying to put on a show. But then I also share like real ways to work through it, and then I give them the reality check of like, this is going to be a journey. Yeah. Get this book, I recommend, start reading this. Here's code meetings that you can go to meetings. If you're single, try staying single. So I just try to keep it real with people and give myself 20 plus minutes to really talk on it.
So what have you found really helps? I've noticed, and I'm the same way. It's like we've become like a fast food nation of like instant news, instant gratification, and that's the part that actually fuels the addiction. Yeah. What are you finding is working at creating that space, and more like you said, it's a journey. It's not a destination thing of like sprint as fast as you can, but more of it's this beautiful journey, and to be able to allow the space to sit in some of the pain, some of the pleasure, like everything that life is. What are you finding? Are you able to actually get that? So I guess what I'm asking, I'm not even clear on what I'm asking.
Right? You're like, what am I saying?
I guess what I'm asking is how are you able to help educate and get results of not focusing on the fast fix, but the slow journey?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think from my experience, what it is just how I think it's just me being authentically raw. For some reason, inspires these people's journey to believe in themselves a little bit more through the walk. If that makes any sense, because I always ask people, like, why are people attracted to me when I say, people come up to me years later, like, man, Fausto, you really helped me a lot. I'm still going because of you, And I think it is just my radical vulnerability and the realness of how I explain things kind of gives them hope. Like, oh, he's just like me, but he's crushing it. Versus this guy I watch seems like he has no problems. Like, I'm never going to be able to follow his advice because look how he is. I'm not like that. And I think that's what helps people really believe in themselves to grow through the process. And then I think the next step would be creating a community too. Yeah. And so that's what I want to do too, is like, like I always make sure to comment, respond to everybody. If they message me, I respond. But it's creating a community group where people could come in and inspire each other, and then hopefully get to a point, if it gets big enough, which it will, in-person events, gatherings. I think that's the key, is community to walk through the pain.
Yeah, I feel like we're just so starved for human connection these days, where we were just on a trip over Christmas, and I saw all of us, me included, we're all on our digital thing, even though we're like a place where there's really not too good a service. And I just took a moment, looked up, I'm like, oh, we all at the same. So I went back and took a picture, and it was all of us, all together, but like in our own individual worlds. And so we tend to get sucked into that.
Yeah.
And so that connection is such an important part. Well, let me ask you, what question have I not asked you that you're going, you know what, I really wish you would have asked this question?
I have no idea.
Well, then what do you feel on your heart that you're wanting to share?
I think it's just, I just want people to know that, like, I truly believe that God puts these dreams in our mind, right, our imagination, to show us what's for us. And to trust that. If it feels right, then that's God planting a seed of a preview of your future. But you just got to find the right people to surround yourself with that believe in you before you believe in yourself. Because we can't always see the bigger picture when we're in it. And so I think that's key for everyone to kind of understand how to heal and to grow and to live their best life. I think is that.
That's wonderful. Why did this... I mean, hopefully you know the answer, because I want to learn. Why do you think it's human nature for us to doubt ourselves more than anything else in the world?
I think it's just, it's almost like it's addicting. I think doubt's addicting, negative thought process is addicting. It's like a high. It's not the high that we want, but it's still like there's a high to it. It kind of gives us a reason to not try. Because think about it like this. It's a lot easier to sit in this life I hate than to take a chance on a life I'll love. Because a life I hate, I know how to navigate that. I know how to complain. I know how to borrow money. I know how to sleep on a couch. I know how to find a new job, or if this breaks down, whatever. I know that process versus jumping into this dream life, which is you got to learn how to speak better, how to connect better, how to walk better, how to look better, how to know better, right? And I think that's what it is. And that's why it's common sense how to get there, but it's not common practice to get there. I truly think that's what it is.
Yeah, it's like we're all on this journey. Life is about continual expansion of unconscious consciousness.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that I like to wrap it up with is, if you could go back in time, what was it that you were needing to hear at that time that would have helped you either transition faster, or, and I know a lot of people will say, well, I wouldn't change anything, which I totally understand, but I'm like, what were you needing to hear back then? Like, at your darkest moment, what do you wish you would have heard? Because there's going to be someone watching this that is in their darkest moment right now and is needing to hear something, and they don't even know what it is.
Yeah, man. It's a hard question to answer, but like, the way I'm going to explain it, I'm going to talk kind of out loud, is, I just wish I had a dad who loved me the way that I needed to, that would listen to me, ask me about my day, ask me what I want to be when I grow up, and inspire me and push me to do those things and get better at those things, and to like be my motivational speaker. I feel like if I had that, I'd be able to see the things that I see now, which would have helped me go in a better direction. And it was the lack of having that was the issue. So I say I wish I had that, because it's without that it's really hard to believe in yourself or to see
Yeah.
things. So that's what I would say. Wish that.
So you being your ideal father, what would you go back and tell yourself?
Man, I would just tell myself, Fausto, you are so special. The way that you're able to feel things so deeply. You care so much about people, which is incredible, because that's what people need. And you're going to be a really good therapist one day, or healer, or speaker. You're so funny too, and humor is healing. And you're just such a good person to be around. Like, look how easy it is for you to make friends. Like, that's a gift, also. Be more of yourself. Keep on creating. Keep on loving. Don't ever feel bad for being sensitive. Don't feel bad for feeling different than the other guys. Because one day those guys are going to come up to you for advice and need your help. That's
See,
it.
that was beautiful. One of the parts that really stuck out to me and that I felt is how deeply you feel. And kind of answering the question the same way, I only thought I could feel all the heavy emotions that deep.
Mm-hmm.
But as I've done the work and will continue to do the work until the last day I take a breath, I never knew I could feel at that exact same depth all these other emotions
Yeah.
of just joy and beauty and fulfillment. I thought feeling deeply was like a curse. And I've learned that it's the most beautiful blessing to be
Yeah.
able to feel everything and invite all the emotions to the table, and everybody has a seat at the table.
I love that.
So brother, thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming in and just, first of all, getting to know you. I'm already a fan, but thank you. I've really enjoyed this time together, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you having out, asking me these questions, giving me the space to talk with you and connect with you. I really do appreciate it.
You got it. So if people want to hear more about you, how the hell do they find you, man?
YouTube, Not Your Average Counselor. That's where you got to go. Videos every week you're going to get. You're going to have testimonies. You're going to have funny skits, just a ton of creative ideas. But it's information that you can trust and that you can follow. And if you reach out, that will be me reaching out back to you. And it's all free. And if you want to do Instagram, it's Hope Dealer Fausto. And yeah, that's the best way to reach me.
Dude, awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you, buddy. That was
Oh,
cool.
man.
Yeah.
If you are wanting more real-time secrets and tips on recovery and sobriety, follow me at Pacific Shores Recovery on Instagram. So that way you can get real-time updates of what's working, what the best type of habits are for long-term recovery, and creating a fulfilling life.